Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science here in New York City. Welcome to our Zoom call. Welcome, no matter if you're watching us on Instagram, X, Facebook, or any of the platforms. It's a blessing to have you with us today. We're about to begin our session together. Some of you are still signing in. Thanks for some of you who joined us early at 10:45 for our meditation. Your energy's already brightened up the day. And to our wonderful friends and members on all the other platforms and beyond, we love getting all your messages, your testimonials, and how the teaching is helping you. If you'd like to join us on a Zoom call, please send the office your contact information. If you'd like to receive our weekly e-letter filled with spiritual gems, just in a private message, send us your phone number and your email address, and then we'll keep you up to date. And please remember, too, our journey extends beyond Sundays. We have our Louise self-healing class every Thursday evening, which I have been presenting for many years. And it's a large gathering of like-minded people. And tuning in regularly is, it's like having an investment in yourself, always being reminded of how wonderful you are and the truth of who you are and what you are. These gatherings are power-packed. They'll help you grow, they'll help you expand. They're filled with healing and sometimes some laughter. We also have on Wednesday night a creative living class, which is facilitated by Jimmy, and he has guest speakers as well. Our mission at First Church is to connect and uplift hearts across the globe. And we really want to have you become on fire and get excited about your life. We have no charge for anything we do. We do have love offerings. So in our chat room, there's links if you want to support the center financially, or some of you send in an offering, a check to us at 204 West 84th Street. That's 10024. That information is in the chat room too. Your generosity helps us spread the teaching to a very large group of people now, and we're very grateful. Today we're talking about abundance and prosperity. I have information from Raymond Charles Barker, Dr. Bill Tolliver, myself, and others. So we want to unfold some of the secrets to acquiring more abundance. We want to understand the prosperity connection that we've spoken of before. We want to embrace the freedom that prosperity brings and how to manifest more of it in our life. So get ready for some life-changing insights. Most of us are New Thought students. Many of us are practitioners. We're here to practice seeing the good and knowing that we're supplied and supported. Some of you are new, and all of it's new. And so I'll only say to you, you're in the right place at the right time. And if it doesn't make any sense right now, it will. So I want to welcome you if you're new. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I want you to know that you're in the right place at the right time and that life is unfolding perfectly. When we come into this teaching, we learn to practice and we learn to understand that we're one with the one and we're on an inner journey, a spiritual journey, and that all is well. We come here to learn how to empower ourselves. In our teaching, we speak of one power, omnipotent, omniscience, omnipresent, right? So it's everywhere present. It's in all things. It's in you. So this power has intelligence, and its center is everywhere. Its circumference is nowhere, is what the poets used to say. The suggestion in that phrase is this power is universally present, always abundant. There is no limit, no boundary. You have it within you, and you can use it, as Ernest Holmes says. In our teaching, we'll say that there's one power. There's not two or more conflicting forces. It's singular. There's a divine energy, and it's the source of all life, all creation, all wisdom. We, every one of us as individuals, are integral parts of this one great life. By recognizing and aligning ourselves with this one power, we awaken. See, we used to think God is somewhere above. This energy is elsewhere. But we awaken to the divine fact that it's in us, operating through us, and then we can tap into it, knowing it's right within us, and it responds to us. In these moments in this teaching, when we work with affirmative prayer, the first step of treatment is we recognize that we're not separate from the universe, but we're intrinsically connected to it. This understanding empowers us to live more fully, and so we can begin to embrace our potential and to manifest the realities that we seek. As we continue our journey together, let's remember and embrace this truth. We are part of, and we're empowered by, this singular, omnipresent power. It's a source of endless possibilities and a guide to our highest selves. So as Louise Hay would say, I trust in the process of life. Let us all trust in the process of life. We're grateful knowing that we're part of the creative process, again, inlets and outlets of it. And we're immersed in this divine givingness, this energy, and this abundant life. We're always a part of it. So we're going to talk today on this much requested topic, abundance, and it's done. We'll start out by saying it's done unto us as we believe. So everyone, let's start thinking about abundance. I'm going to share some of my stories with you. In this talk that Raymond Charles Barker gave, we want to learn to understand our prosperity connection, he said. And Barker's definition is prosperity is freedom of action. He jokingly said in one of his classes, one of his lessons, if there's anyone here that can't use more prosperity, please leave now. Of course, he was joking. And those were in the early days. And he was giving lots of lessons on prosperity. And he would exclaim to everyone, he says, it's all spiritual. Money is God in action. And people would come from everywhere. And of the church, he had this big building in New York. He said, it's very expensive to run this place and maintain it, much more than people would realize. And he said, was always saying, I have a rich father. Of course, that was many years ago. And today you'd probably say it differently. I have a rich father, mother. But he was wanting the congregation to know that we are supplied and supported. And he was talking about spiritually. Every time he saw a bill piling up, he would speak of the abundant supply that we have. And repeat again, I have a rich father. He never wanted to talk about lack or limitation. He said, this is not a teaching that teaches that, because we know we're abundantly supplied. And he said, we have to teach prosperity principles and laws of abundance, laws of circulation. And he wanted to do it at least 3 or 4 times a year. Dr. Barker would never want us to describe ourselves as needy, even when the bills were piling up, because he said, we truly know that we are supplied and supported. So that's probably one of the first messages I would like to convey to everybody today, is it has to start with you. Whatever you have, you want to bless, and you want to realize, I am supplied. Whatever health you have, whatever wealth you have, you talk about your health, you talk about your wealth, you talk about your abundance. We don't talk about what we don't have. It's like creating. It'll start working the other way for you. So take out $1 in your wallet, or take out a 20 or whatever you have. Bless it and know that you have this and more. We want to get to the point where we know we're supplied and supported, that we have this rich parent, Father, Mother, God. We have this creative intelligence that knows our every need before we could even say it ourselves. Dr. Barker was convinced this spiritual community and our teaching is a divine idea in the mind of God, and it is supported. This teaching, what we teach, and as we teach people to be prosperous, logically, people will be more giving, was his thought, which, as people are giving, they feel more prosperous. When he was doing his broadcasts in those days all over the greater New York area, he would encourage people at the conclusion of any lesson to send in their happy money to support the work we do, which always makes me smile every time I hear one of his lessons. Of course, those broadcasts were quite a few years ago, but people would send in their dollar bills or 5s or 10s or sometimes a lot more. He taught the practitioners and staff ministers that we teach abundance and not lack. So again, you wouldn't hear him talking about the woes and he wouldn't be doing second or third collections. He would just talk about people sending in their happy money, and lo and behold, they did. So right to this day, as in the days of Barker, we teach abundance, and we suggest making love offerings if someone wants to support the work, because we do know that we're supplied and supported. When Barker spoke about prosperity, he said, I'm going to define it as I always do. It's freedom of action. Again, prosperity is freedom of action. That's all it is. If you will interpret your prosperity in terms of freedom of action rather than merely terms of money, you'll begin to get a larger picture. Freedom of action, freedom means to do what you want to do when you want to do it without worry. I would probably add knowing that you are supplied and supported. When I was putting some of these notes together for the lesson, I recalled my early days, a powerful concept which always resonated to me, the idea of developing a consciousness where I know that there's plenty to use, plenty to share, and plenty to spare. This is, in essence, prosperity, where you know that there's enough to do what you want to do, you need to do, and it's not about just having enough, it's about knowing deep within you that there's an abundance within you, around you, and it's ready to be utilized and shared. And from this kind of abundance and knowing flows freedom of action. Then you have freedom to make choices not out of scarcity, but from a place of plenty. I remember a time in my own consciousness when I was just getting involved in New Thought, where they were teaching us about the concepts of giving and tithing, and it was all new to me then. I remember a time thinking, I need this money more than the church does. But eventually I started to understand that I needed to be a giver because my consciousness needed to expand, and it needs to evolve, and it will, and it did through our classwork, our discussions, and our daily practice. We've all been taught limiting beliefs when we were raised. You might have grown up in a family that would teach money doesn't grow on trees, or we're not made of money. These sayings often are passed down from generation to generation, where there have been seeds of scarcity and or lack that have been established in our minds. They will suggest that money is limited, or it's hard to come by, and something to be hoarded rather than shared. There's all kinds of old ideas about money in various religious faiths. But here's a different perspective to consider. Remember those lemonade stands we set up as kids? They weren't just about making a few extra dollars, they were exercises in understanding abundance. We took simple ingredients like water, sugar, and lemons, and we transformed them into something of value that could be shared with others. It was a lesson of creating and sharing abundance, a fundamental principle of prosperity. Our journey here in religious science is in part about unlearning scarcity mindsets and embracing a life of abundance and prosperity. And it's about understanding that there's enough for everybody, and that by allowing ourselves to experience prosperity, we're not taking anything away from anybody, but rather contributing to a cycle of abundance that benefits everyone. As our consciousness grows and starts to shift towards this understanding, we start to experience the true freedom of action that prosperity brings. We start to make decisions from a place of strength and generosity, not out of a place of limitation or fear. So let's continue to nurture our consciousness of abundance, sharing in the joy and freedom it brings. We want to transform all those inherited beliefs about scarcity and let them go into, you just let them go and realize that abundance is alive and lives within us. Reflecting on the wisdom imparted by all these teachers, Dr. Bill used to say this is a first-class teaching for first-class individuals. It's a teaching about learning to love ourselves more and honoring ourselves more and realizing that we deserve to have a great life. no matter what you were told as a children, that you'll never have this or never have that, we want to start to understand that we do deserve a great life, and a truly abundant one to boot. We deserve a life where we have freedom of action and where we have enough to use and to spare. Dr. Talifaro, like many before him, spoke about our perceptions about money and our expectations. He says, people are content with far less than they deserve. So we want to hitch our wagon to the stars and lift our sights and know that we deserve a great life. We deserve more. These perceptions are often rooted in our self-esteem. And that's one of the reasons, we teach the Louise Hay material every Thursday. It's like lifting yourself up and knowing that you deserve a wonderful life, a good life, a connected life, a prosperous life, abundant life, a healthy life. We struggle often to see ourselves as being worthy of good things, good relationships, prosperity, and all of it. The truth is, we're capable of achieving far more than we presently believe. That's one of the reasons you come to these classes, Thursday in particular, because it's always about realizing how great thou art, and you do deserve. And as you start to realize it, you will start to manifest it in your life. So you deserve a first-class life. You deserve to be treated well by wonderful people. You deserve all the good things. Our spiritual journey with these teachings is about growing to understand about the limitless possibilities that are within you and that await you. They await your discovery. Most people remain unaware of their potential for freedom and prosperity. The New Thought movement since the 1980s has consistently taught prosperity is not just a spiritual concept, but a necessary aspect of personal development. We must learn the laws of prosperity, right? So you can demonstrate the life that you want. This week and every week, we ask you to commit to this path of enlightenment where you realize that you are one with abundance, you're one with life, you're one with creative life. It's your birthright. Dr. Barker's message at First Church on Abundance is a powerful reminder of the transformative power of our thoughts and attitudes towards money. We want to amplify his message. We want to challenge you to change your ideas about money. Realize money's not just good. Money's not just good, it's fantastic. It's a source of joy and opportunity. Embrace this mantra again, which I've said already. I have plenty to use and plenty to share. This isn't just a phrase, it's a shift in your thinking. When you adopt this belief wholeheartedly, you start feeling rich. You start feeling the richness of wealth in your life. Dr. Barker told a funny story about a lady who visited banks. I'm trying to remember the story as I speak. She wanted to be around money and she wanted the ambience of wealth. So this lady, one of the early members, would visit the various banks around New York City, not to do transactions, but to immerse herself in the atmosphere of affluence. So this wasn't about the physical presence of money, but about aligning her energy with the energy of abundance. She understood an important lesson, which I'm sharing with you today. To attract something, you must be in the space where it exists, both physically and mentally. So I always thought that was a funny lesson. Always heard about her trying out different banks. She'd go and spend time there, talk to the people. Usually they're great buildings in those days too. More recently for myself, I was teaching a prosperity class in Miami. There's a part of Miami near the ocean where there's a super luxurious shopping area called Bal Harbor. And it has all the best stores in the world. And I challenged the class. I said, we're all going to go to Bal Harbor. This is our prosperity class on a Saturday. And I think we're going to bring, I don't remember, it was $25 or $50. And we would go in Tiffany's and Neiman's and all the Gucci and Chanel and Tiffany's, it was all there. But our point was we're going to go there and we would sit down on the cafe table and have some fancy dessert or tea or coffee, and next to us might be a Jaguar with a big red bow on it, and people, walking around that were obviously well-heeled. And what I was doing with that class is I wanted to see if anything was going to come up for them, if they felt like they belonged there, or if they felt like they didn't belong there. So it was quite an experience. It wasn't just about observing luxury, it was about integrating ourselves into it. So we could challenge ourselves or change our story. Maybe the story was, I can't afford this. Are you crazy? This isn't for me. But the challenge was to realize that I deserve to be here. I can have this. So it was interesting for me to see how the class responded. Most everybody rose to the challenge and had a good time. We sampled some delicious desserts, fine coffees, and did a little bit of shopping. On the table, you can buy a gift for $20, and it was wonderful. We weren't just tasting treats on that class. When we went out as a class, we weren't just tasting treats. We're sampling a lifestyle and just taking on this attitude of abundance and prosperity. So this trip to Belle Harbor was more than just a physical visit. It was about stretching our mental boundaries. It was about visualizing and feeling ourselves as part of this abundant setting. A lot like the lady in New York that I mentioned a few minutes ago who visited banks just to immerse herself in the atmosphere of money. My visit with my class to Belle Harbor was a conscious effort to put ourselves in the midst of abundance. This experience demonstrated the power of environment in shaping our thoughts and beliefs. And it encouraged us all to stretch our imagination and see ourselves as deserving of such luxury and abundance. In this teaching, we always emphasize shifting our focus from what we don't have to appreciating what we do have. Our trip that day was a practical exercise in this principle. We were not just teaching prosperity. We were living it that day, and we were feeling it, and we were embracing it, trying it on for our reality. So it's about understanding that such experiences are not out of reach for anyone, but are experiences that we can and do deserve if we want them. The message that Dr. Barker delivered, Dr. Bill and I have given in past classes, we're always want to suggest to shift your focus from scarcity to gratitude. Please don't talk about what you don't have. Always start with, I'm grateful for. Recognize and appreciate what you have. This shift is vital for personal growth and attracting more and more good in your life. Reverend Barker touched on the spiritual aspect of money when he said, money is not merely a physical entity. It's an expression of the divine in action. This perspective might challenge the conventional beliefs that equate poverty with spirituality, but it's important to recognize abundance is your natural state. You're an inlet and outlet of God activity. You are an individualization of this life force itself. You're here to be great and to experience wonderful things. Poverty is not a virtue to aspire to. Rather, abundance is your inherent birthright. We're not just creations within the universe. We are active expressions of it. We embody the creative process of the universe, making each of us inherently successful and abundant. Remember, every one of you are a manifestation of the limitless potential of life, unconditioned and free. Embrace this truth wholeheartedly and watch your life transform into a reflection of this understanding. Reconsider your relationship with supply, especially money, and see it as positive. See it as a positive force in your life. I encourage you to affirm to yourself, I will always have everything I need, want, or desire. I will always have everything I need, want, or desire. I will always have what I need to enjoy, to give, to share. We live in an advanced age again with unprecedented knowledge and opportunities. Amidst this opulence, we must be open to expansion and growth. There's every type of opportunity available there if you open yourself up to it. However, in the world, many people still focus on lack. They're just addicted to turning on the news and seeing what's wrong in the world. You could do this a different way. You could start turning it around and talking about what you what you do have, and celebrating it, and allowing yourself to stretch. I have an exercise from one of Dr. Barker's classes. He said, take a moment and to look around your home, to appreciate all the objects you've collected, and say to them, aren't you beautiful? I'm glad I have you. Look around your room. Look at the things, your possessions. This practice of saying, I appreciate you, I'm glad I have you, and aren't you beautiful, was one of his little things. Because he said this practice of appreciation reflects the extension of our consciousness in our surroundings. Say to yourself, money is good, money is wonderful. Let us shift our perception of money from being something that's terrible and to tell ourselves it's something good and it's something wonderful. Let's embrace it, he said, as a vital component of our spiritual journey, a reflection of the abundance that is our divine right. As we align our consciousness with this truth, we open ourselves up to a life of prosperity and joy. Barker often reminded us to affirm to ourselves, my prosperity is spiritual, it's wonderful, and it's expanding, it's growing, it's increasing, it's multiplying. And then say, I love it. So I know he was a ham, but do it. My prosperity is spiritual, it's wonderful, it's expanding, it's growing, it's increasing, it's multiplying, and I love it. This mentality is essential in recognizing the spiritual nature of our abundance. Consider the sources of your supply. It could be your business, your job, it could be your retirement. Whatever it is, tell yourself it's wonderful and you enjoy it. He went on to say, many people do not enjoy their money. He said, and if you're one of them, stop right there and start your day over and start enjoying it now. Pull the dollar out of your wallet or your purse and say, I'm blessed. Or look at your checkbook and whatever it is that you have, start there with gratitude. And he said, if you can afford something, do it. If you can't, wait until you can, and meanwhile do your affirmative prayer, seeing yourself, in gratitude, and see the thing that you would like to do or you would like to have take place. Envision what you desire, and soon you'll have the means to achieve it. What the mind can believe and see, it will achieve. So we have to begin working in consciousness. And he went on to say, it's important to like money, respect it. We're living in one of the most abundant times in human history. Wherever you are, begin noticing the beauty in your neighborhood. Look at the shops. You don't have to buy the things. Look at the craftsmanship. Look at the richness in architecture. Look at everything and see the beauty. And begin to appreciate it. Taking time to appreciate everything is another thing to bring forth demonstrations of abundance. Appreciate the architecture, the people, all the interactions. Be like the lady in the bank. Bring all the abundance you can into your atmosphere. Go to a beautiful place. Look around and say, isn't this beautiful? And for those of us who are older and or can't get out much, or you're not in perfect health at the moment, there's other ways to appreciate beauty. Sometimes just looking out your window, you can see it in nature. You can see it right through a window. Other people, it might be some reading material, some book that they have, or some show on the television where you might be viewing nature, or something that brings forth the idea of abundance and beauty. What we want to be doing is consciously bringing beauty into our hearts, into our minds, our consciousness. Appreciation of beauty doesn't require buying anything. I used to go into antique stores. There's one across the street from the church. I spent a lot of time appreciating the things there. There'd be no place to ever put those things that I saw, but there's an appreciation. And you start to feel abundant, and you go around the corner and have a nice little coffee or have a dessert or something and treat yourself to something. There's loads and loads of ways to, treat yourself and surround yourself with beauty. It's good for our souls to notice and appreciate it everywhere, was one of Barker's main ideas. So challenge yourself to do that. Buy yourself something special. Could be some flowers. It doesn't have to be expensive either, but we're learning to love ourselves and treat ourselves as first-class citizens. We're learning to see the beauty and the abundance that's around us. Let's have our consciousness be all about abundance and start developing bigger visions for ourselves and, really deeply know we're supplied and supported and we deserve this kind of life. So let's start re-engaging with the world again. See beauty in everything and the opulence in life all around you. Look for the little things that can bring you delight. He said, we're always looking for ways to open ourselves up to a greater sense of freedom in life. That's all, he said, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. We live, move, and we have our being in divine abundance. So let's expand our thinking. That doesn't cost us anything to expand our thinking. Start knowing you deserve it. Don't disqualify yourself. Say, I'm one with this. And so we study principle here, and what we mean by that is we study the fact that we live, move, and we have our being in this divine life, and life is responding to us all the time, and that's really exciting. You can worry about your finances if you want to, or you can think rightly about them. If you can worry, you can also turn that worry around. You have the power to do that. We work to rid ourselves of negativity and know that Spirit is always guiding us to step up to a higher place. If you're struggling, ask yourself how fear and worry are serving you. Whenever you catch yourself focusing on what you can't do or you can't have, tell yourself the opposite. Begin each day with gratitude, affirming, I'm full of life and divine activity. I'm supplied and supported in every conceivable way. Our conscious mind acts on our subconscious. So keep telling yourself these wonderful things and build up your consciousness. Remember, the real life is spirit, and everything in our world is a reflection of what we tell ourselves. It's a reflection of our consciousness. A couple affirmations. Affirms, you might say to yourself, I am prosperity, I am freedom in action, I am the fullness of life. So these are spiritual exercises. Commit to making these types of affirmations. We can spend our years in abundance. We're conscious beings, and we have the ability in this teaching to direct our thoughts for much better results. We're inlets and outlets of God activity, gifted with the Creator's gifts. If you're caught up in worry and lack, realize that's habitual thinking, and you can turn that around. You can release the need for it whenever it pops up. Every Thursday, I ask, what is it like being you? Are your thoughts abundant? Are they positive? If not, you have the power to turn them around. Thursday, we learn to love ourselves, and we learn to change these conversations around, knowing that we have power, that we're whole, we're complete, and that we live in an abundant world. What a gift it is to yourself to see the world this way. You no longer have to take things personally. You know you're supplied and supported all the time. The universe is an abundant spiritual system, and it's responding to you. You have the capacity to see abundance and goodness in everything. That's prosperity. That's an abundant consciousness. You are the determining factor in your own life. And you get out of life exactly what you were thinking into it. The infinite mind God has given you free will. Imagine having an account with unlimited amount of good or dollars at your disposal. Imagine that, because that's what you have. It's established for you, and you can draw from it any time. Prosperity is an attitude. When you have it, you're free. So let's wind down for today, because I'd really like to hear from as many of you as possible. The cosmic order is spiritual, and it's intelligent. Each of us are embodiments of this creative order. We're one with the one. We're one with the one abundant energy. So let's open our eyes to whatever is available and learn how to receive it. As we embrace the truth that the real life is spiritual and that our consciousness shapes our world, let's affirm together, divine abundance flows through me endlessly. Again, divine abundance flows through me endlessly. And know that I'm a conduit of prosperity. I'm a vessel of infinite possibilities. With every breath I take, I draw from the universe's limitless supply. I affirm my unity with this abundant energy, knowing it's ever present and always accessible. I'm prosperity, I'm abundance in action, I'm the fullness of life, embracing each moment with gratitude and joy. My thoughts are the seeds of prosperity growing in the fertile soil of my positive consciousness. So let's today release any habitual worry or negativity, and we choose to direct our focus towards abundance, beauty, positivity. So we lift our mind and our hearts to the blessings around us, knowing that I am a vital part of this abundant universe. I acknowledge that I am the author of my own experience. I craft my life with thoughts of abundance, love, and joy. I'm empowered by the infinite mind. In this moment, I'm grateful for the abundance that surrounds me, for the spiritual wealth that's mine to claim. I open my arms to receive, to experience, and share this boundless gift of the universe, and so it is. Now, with all these thoughts in mind, I invite each of you to stay tuned, and we're going to turn the call over to you where you can talk about your demonstrations, your thoughts about money, how your thoughts about money have changed since you've been in the teaching, how you are growing, how your consciousness is expanding. So let's hear from everybody at the other side of the break. Thank you.